So it's a symbiotic relationship then, in a way, if they're
But
leaking anyway and they're just taking it as it comes passively.
the only time I saw them though was these two individuals were ill down within 2 weeks. I haven't been exactly 2 weeks.
So this is an indication that someone is dying when Joseph sees these rings around them. So are you seeing anything around Reuben or any of that? Okay. But
And when I let people know that sometimes, and then I'll say, "Hey, if I ever see him around, dude, do you want to know?" They're like, "No, I don't know."
exactly.
But
Yeah.
maybe you could curb the tide or something. Start working out or
A lot
something.
of times you can. A lot of times you can change things.
Mhm.
Hey, I found out that according to this research study that was done, they've discovered that humans don't age statically, like steadily. Around age 44 and age 60, we have a burst of aging. And they've determined this by checking biomarkers, molecules in your body. They did a study of over 100 people, and that's what they came up with, that right about age 44 and age 60, your molecules indicate that your systems have quit being like they're aging. So there's that. What they're saying is, knowing this, you could plan ahead to be sure that you're in a good place with your fitness and your diet and all that at that time, and it would help it not be such a dramatic thing. But I tend to believe it because it was extremely dramatic for Joseph when he hit 60. This toxicity he had, whatever it is, it's getting him. That's when it started showing up the worst. Is right after that he just got to where he was getting sick several times a year, and he didn't have the endurance he used to have. So maybe that's what happened. But
Yeah,
anyway,
it would be is this what happened to Joseph? Yeah. No, I get yes.
so it made it show up. So in a way, it's a good thing because now he can deal with it. If he didn't know about it and it happened a lot later, I'm sure it would have been a lot worse. As far as him not able to do as much about it because he found out sooner, and this is a good thing.
Yeah.
So
Okay, so with Reuben, we know through many of his past lives, he's done wrong things.
yeah, we got that
We
yesterday.
all have. This is
Mhm.
not
Oh,
a judgment.
We have.
I I brought that up to Ruben, and he goes, "But wait a minute, I died for you when we were samurais." I go, "Yeah, but I didn't have any money. I didn't have a lot of money." And then he goes, "Oh, okay." Like, if I had a lot of money, maybe he wouldn't have killed himself. He was just taking the money. So he found
So in other words, he kind of knows how he is. Yes.
That's good. Realization of the self is really important because
Mhm.
if he's denying who he really,
How
how
he is.
he
Yeah.
really is and how he has been, it's only going to make it harder on him, like you said, told him in his next life. So we all have been bad. We've all done
Things.
jacked up stuff, but they're saying his is more to the negative side than the positive side.
Okay.
So that's the reason why he can't go on the karma board and clear his karma, because he hasn't like paid back anything. He's still in that time that he thinks he deserves everything.
He's way out of
And
equilibrium
mhm.
toward. So
So
he's okay. So he's in debt karmically and in a lot of ways.
yeah, spiritually in debt now. He just created more debt by asking for brand new organs. You know,
Mhm.
he created more debt like that. Um,
Well, he's a bit, well, that's the thing. I imagine just knowing Ruben that he's always been one for asking and getting, and being his due. He's very quick to ask for what he wants. He doesn't think bad. He doesn't feel bad of it. That's for sure, as far as we can tell.
hey, Brandon. Sorry.
that's what I was explaining to Daniel last night about the organs thing, and that it, we don't know all the details about what that implies, but it's not a healthy thing that it ended up with Hector's organ, spiritual organs.
You take it in somewhere else, so.
Yeah.
It
Thank
never
you.
occurred to me to ask for new organs. I could definitely use a new liver and kidneys myself, but it never occurred to me to ask for from scratch while I'm still in this body. I'd be happy with just, rejuvenated
Well,
organs.
Well, you can rejuvenate your
And
organs.
that's what I've been
and
doing. Mhm.
Your body does that automatically, but
You don't block it.
if you don't block it, and when you sleep at night, your body rejuvenates.
She doesn't sleep
If
much.
you-
I only get about half the normal sleep, but I still do sleep enough to feel decent most of the time with the patches.
We got, the guy said, when the sun comes out in the morning, go out and look at the sunrise area. Have the sun hitting your body.
Well, the first hour that you're up, yeah.
No, 5 minutes. He said 5 minutes.
Mhm. Yeah, I
Trigger-
really should start doing that.
Triggers to.
It's to get your
we
circadian rhythm.
all need to do that.
Yeah,
Like,
to help
all-
circadian. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm about to have more, I got my insurance thing situated, so, figured out, so I can see this new doctor that we picked out who didn't tell me that they don't take my particular insurance. They only take that company's insurance, but not every policy. So I was able to find a new policy yesterday. It's going to be 2 weeks before it kicks in, but I can go ahead and make my appointment. But when I get I'm going to start going to this integrative doctor and get on the natural hormones for a while. And that will break the cycle. They're saying it's the lack of progesterone and all the hormones is causing me to not be able to break this cycle of having to use the gummies to help me sleep at night. So they're saying once I get the hormones back in my system, I can get off them suckers and I'll be able to sleep again. And I should be healthy enough to at some point get back off of them. I'm not going to have to stay on them. And then he also knows all kinds of, he can also help me when I'm doing that with, things that help you sleep that are more natural, that also help with detox. Cause he already mentioned that when we had the first appointment.
Okay. Now I'm kind of getting that is Hector trying to take his organs back from Ruben?
Hope he is. I'm sure he's going to need them. Okay. Hector is retrieving his organs from Ruben.
Is he still on, or
But he has.
oh, you want to know what the weather was?
Yeah.
Oh,
He intends to, I'm getting. Can we help him do that right now? I would be happy to help him because he's all alone over. No, they're saying he's not
Yeah.
alone. The angels are with him. He hasn't, I don't think he's crossed over for processing, but they've come to him.
I questioned that. I said, Hector, regardless of what happens, you need to go to processing. You need to process what happened, and then
you should come
you'll
back.
have a better understanding of what it is you want to do. Like, okay, now if I go back, this will happen or that'll happen, or maybe I've completed everything I want to complete. So it's just better all around. I think if he went to processing, and I guess he thinks he can't come back if he's in processing.
Or
Maybe he can.
Sandy won't be okay while he's gone or something. Let's find out. Hector, have you gone to processing on the other side? No, I don't think he's gone. He's strong.
Hell
He's
no, is
stubborn.
what I hear. Hell no.
Stubbornness runs in this family too, I'll tell you.
Okay,
Strong strength anyway.
so what Devontae said that he has a divine, because she kept asking what could they do for him, because he had a big purpose in this life. He had a really big, like
Joe,
he was supposed to make change in the world in this life. So the thing is, Divine said that they have a backup body for him. Excuse me. No, hang on, Hector. He's like, let's go. They have a backup body, but it would be like him going into
witness protection.
witness protection, Nobody would know where he's at. He would be placed somewhere else in the world. But he could live out his time.
But shift the timeline, then none of that matters. And I've shifted
But
the
they're
time.
saying that we can do that, but he'll be a target. He'll still be a target.
You were all targets.
But he could pray for protection and we could pray for protection. I don't know if that's enough.
See, one of the things Hector wanted to do, but we never had the funding, was there was this company that wanted to create a huge facility for it, but we'd have to help them build it here in San Antonio. And then all our trash and recycle would go there, didn't matter what it was. And they would burn it, and they would also separate the metals and other things from there.
That could be used.
But it would be burned, and it doesn't pollute into the atmosphere. I mean, everything is consumed, even smoke, and it generates electricity.
Well, that
And
would
then
certainly
the only
change
thing,
humanity.
two things that come out of it. One of these little pellets, it turns it into these little fuel pellets, and the other one is this molten like glass globule things that can be used for bricks or whatever. But and it generates power, electricity, and basically instead of having to pay to get rid of the trash, you're making money getting rid of the trash. So that takes a huge overhead off of whatever. And then one of the things I want to do, never had time for it though. I've seen motors that can be converted over to water, to run on water when you separate the hydrogen and the oxygen. And as the company got more bigger, things started getting away from us. But if it hadn't, I would have gotten Hector to buy the next truck coming up, a used natural gas truck, because they run on natural gas, and modify that to run on water. And then see where that takes us, because that's the next big thing.
Was he
The
interested in?
fuel, yeah, the fuel and the and the payroll. Fuel, payroll, and landfill. Those were the main three. So if you
So-
could take out fuel and not have to be spending fuel to run them on water, which is very doable. As long as we don't sell it to anybody, we're allowed to do that. As long as we don't go, oh, here we go, all the trucks gonna go to, eventually it would, because we're gonna get out and people will be upset. Why aren't they allowed? Why can't they share this technology? Because we go to prison. The government won't let us, and if that knowledge got out there, then people would be upset about it, because they've done it. They took a bus from San Antonio, drove it to Houston, Dallas, back to San Antonio on water. Okay, that never hit the news. That never made news anywhere.
Oh, of course not.
So anyway, those were things we had ideas to do.
Well, I just asked if Hector's purpose was an environmental project to help humanity, and I got yes. What do you get?
Purpose of, yeah, I get yes.
Very important.
And
If he was,
it's not so much like, saving the whole damn planet, but if you can make a difference here and other people see, hey, how did you do that? And come down here and learn, and then
no, that could have a huge impact across the earth. Anything that helps with pollution. Oh my gosh. But you're saying that if he were to come back, he wouldn't be able to have his normal life.
Well, if he
that-
came back the way the divine is allowing
Recommend.
him, recommending, so he's got the FBI cover divine way, and then he's got becoming an ascended master, or we can see if we can flip back the timelines.
That's, what we were hoping. If they are willing to allow us to try, then we would just do much better at working on protection, I suppose.
Mhm.
I really think
We'd have to go back and warn ourselves to work on protection too, because that wouldn't be on our radar if Hector wasn't killed.
Yeah,
yes, we would have to intend to remember to always be vigilant about praying for protection and
well,
for
because
the
we would
family.
The other
Yeah.
day,
to this time, right? If we went back in timeline, it would bring it forth into this time.
well, in that timeline, going back into the timeline, I would simply, there's a couple things I can do, but basically get him to take a different route and go slower than he normally would, because that's what I would do. I would go slower than I would normally
It's
would.
best if he just doesn't deliver carts, because
Yeah, that would be the best thing of all. But it could happen.
Yeah,
in-
before he goes out, like give him that warning that not to go out that day.
Yeah.
Hey, Brandon. Oh, who's stabbing me?
Okay, so I went to that
Would you
planet.
come here?
I went to the planet where the Patty
Are you
essence
still,
is or whatever. And
would you bring it with
I
you?
went to both planets where what's the face,
Huh?
but mostly at the Patty one. And
No.
She can't hear you. She's talking to somebody.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we need to make Patty's planet bigger too.
No, it's big enough. Trust me, it's like Earth.
He said he went to it.
Right now, if you took all the population of the planet that's on here, on the planet right now, and there's two loops around San Antonio, you got 410 and 1604. Okay. And we put everybody into loop 1604. You'd have 2 feet by 2 feet to stand there, so you wouldn't have to be touching each other unless you're incredibly fat. But you could fit every person on the planet in there. I'd mathematically have calculated out because our teacher would give us weird experiments to do on math and very doable. The entire population of the planet would easily fit within not the state of Texas, the outer band around San Antonio. So yeah, if you do the math, it works. I couldn't believe it. It blew our minds. Oh, really?
What, like standing just right up next to each other?
No, you got 2 feet by 2 feet.
Oh, with 2 feet by 2 feet. Interesting. Yeah, that is hard to believe.
That is hard to believe. Standing up, as how do you can get them probably in loop 410. The entire population of the planet.
I don't
Anyway,
believe it. I can't believe it.
Do the math.
Okay.
Do the math.
I
Just like
can't
in
because I
NASA,
suck
do
at
the
math.
math.
Can't believe there's that many Patties.
But real quick, as I was coming back, well, actually, as I was going, because when I was coming back, I was listening to something she wanted me to listen to. But I was experiencing going to the planet and encasing myself in that same bubble of love that I put around demons and stuff. And then I would I didn't I stopped trying to convince any of them to do the whole Ho'oponopono thing, right? And so I just sat there and I would look at a couple of them or three of them, whatever, and I would just start channeling this energy of Ho'oponopono, right? I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. And just focusing on a few of them, two or three or just two, and then they would fuse together and become one, right? And I would do it again, and that would force more to get pulled in and become one again. And I just almost like a magnet, sucking them and sucking them in. And they were not wanting to do it, but once they became the one person, they were much more calmer, spiritual, sort of like missing pieces of them had come back together. And so anyway, I don't know. I just didn't care for that to to wait for them to do it on their own. I just figured, look, this has to happen eventually, so I'm going to do this, and then hopefully the rest of you pick up on it. If not, I'll go back and do it again. And the Ho'oponopono thing worked. It was just working that they were coming together, and I was trying to resonate it off of them so they would like from them resonate to the others around them, and then they would just automatically pull in. But they're like so fragmented they don't have a mind like we do at all. To them, everything is survival. Everything is out to get them. Everything has energy that they need to feed off of because they're so splintered.
Mm.
The smaller splintered pieces, which is why there's millions of them.
That makes
Okay.
sense,
Yeah,
right?
and-
Does that make sense? That makes sense.
Yeah, in a way. There,
And as soon as she's whole, then back here. Because
Yeah.
the whole person who could continue doing
Mhm.
something. A whole essence, a whole consciousness, a whole. It's not a group mind. It's one freaking mind that's split into. I mean, eventually, essentially, you have God splitting into all these minds, but it's just this one mind that's shattered, and that's what I've got on that one planet, that one mind. What's his name and the other?
I just wonder what's attracting her to know who it is that to be attracted to our clients and our family like this, with her only being a little splinter of
Well,
herself.
they be telepathic. On the other side, they're telepathic, and since they're themselves, they would know.
Okay.
They had
Yeah.
this here.
We
Well, to
found
commit
out
that meanness, though, of knocking the carts off of the truck took premeditation and like thought, pre-planning, like she was saying the other day.
But I've also had carts come flying off the truck. So yeah, it could have done that, but
I'm just saying it makes it hard to understand what we're dealing with in a way, how they get their instructions.
and
these
what
things.
sector got to do with it? of the pre-meditation, and was it them that told him instead of the angels telling him, oh yeah, we can do this for you? And it's the those parts of Patty and uh Taya's father, but we found out something yesterday, didn't we, Brandon?
Yeah.
That Permavir was a split. Okay, so what happened with his dad? His dad is a split of Permavir from Angel
Oh.
Times. Yeah, so the in Angel Times, me and Brandon has found
Auntie's son, Pyrambeer.
doing work on was it your past life, or we found an angel, didn't we?
Yeah.
We found an angel that Brandon knew in the past, and she was taken to this lab. Here, I'll let you explain it.
So Patty and several others that were working with her convinced Chris back when he was the King of Angels to ultimately start doing experiments on Pacific Angels to infuse them with darkness to make them stronger.
This back before, in the way past, okay.
And this angel is one of the first ones, but they couldn't really forward turn to darkness, but she did become a half and half light, half darkness.
Okay.
And this is an extremely powerful angel that would very much defeat all of the strongest angels that are well known, like Archangel Michael, Raphael, and this angel is extremely powerful. As her abilities come from the concept of stars. So she's able to go at the speed of light. She's able to shine extremely bright. She moves so fast, you see only after images of her
Okay.
by the time you attack. And she was ultimately, me and her had we were having a sort of a relationship.
Okay.
I'm not sure how far it went, but I do know that both me and her trusted each other deeply, and we both had love for each other. This is also where my vow that I made a long time ago was first made. I would not have children with any other woman.
Okay.
So they decided to trick her by using someone who can disguise themselves as me,
A shapeshifter.
shapeshifter, and use that to capture her and try to break her spirit, but she wasn't fully broken. We did go back in time to undo that past, which then allowed her to be free before she was experimented on, and now she's working on helping so many.
So we found out that happened to Permavir,
Yes.
which his part of that angel was dark, and after angel time he had split off as twins and moved as two different people, and then his father as a twin went off torturing everybody, and
also getting tortured by him.
It was back and forth, like they tortured each other back and forth. So the aspect that you have on that planet is actually Permavir. Ask if that's true.
The aspect of Devontae's ex-husband and Pyrambeer's father that is on the planet actually is Pyrambeer. It goes with Pyrambeer. Strong, yes.
So yesterday we went back in time and took him out of the planet, out of the lab, and we'd actually set angels free yesterday, and Cupid was there. And when we released Cupid, he had said, that angel blew a kiss at me. And he goes, I feel like it was Cupid.
Interesting.
And I was like, okay, and so we asked and we got yes. And then I thought about it. Is that why love got tainted?
What got what?
Love
Love
got tainted.
It
got
was tainted here more than anywhere else.
It would also explain why so many people, especially women, from the bad boys.
So let me confirm I'm understanding. So somehow Paramveer, his soul and his dad's soul became bonded as one.
There was one
They were.
before.
It's
So
similar to
they
what happened,
share that soul.
Mhm.
then they
So is
split
that his
off.
soulmate? Is it because it's his soulmate? So
It's
his
a
dad
part
is
of
his
him.
soulmate. Well, yeah, people don't realize you don't have to be opposite sex. It doesn't have to be a love relationship every time. So Paramveer's soulmate is actually his father.
Which
And
was
see,
him.
can I confirm this? I heard that a lot of this took that, of course, before Atlantis, but in Atlantis they were able to do that because people, it was all the rage to go and become get your soul split off.
Yeah,
could
so
have
that
your
you become
soulmate,
two.
but I never did that. And
No, not everybody did.
right. And anyway, on me also when I that was one thing I needed to know. The other thing was when I first started seeing my wings and things like that, my wings were black and white. Everything about me was black and white. And it's because I wasn't necessarily say evil. Okay, it's like the Confederacy and the Union when they split up, right? Soldiers in the Confederacy were at West Point with the officers in the Union, so they were friends. But and that's why when they met each other in battle, they usually knew each other. So I would have been friends with the Confederate, but there's no way I could go with the Confederate with what they were doing. And so I was like an officer that was kind of in between. I didn't really side with the Union. I didn't side with the Confederate. And I was just kind of stuck there. But I knew, God was what he was supposed to be. But I still had a knowledge of all the ones who were on the dark side. And I guess I loved for them. But it made me also black and white, which I think is actually where you're supposed to be. Because when I start seeing that, oh, this is the most heavenly being, they're pure light and all that, I put them in the same boat with demons because they're the extreme far right of energy of light, and these guys are the extreme far dark. But it's both sides of the coin, and until you merge those two together and realize those are both sides of you, and you need to walk forward with that, not completely obscure one side of yourself like they do. And that's the only thing that can make you whole, because you can't say this part of God is ugly and this part of God is beautiful. It's all God.
Yes.
Funny thing is, that's pretty much what I did. Because both sides, one thinks one side itself is beautiful, while the other thinks the other side is ugly as hell.
I noticed that in Star Wars, they started taking on that. I don't know where that came from, but that the strongest Jedi were the ones who, accepted both sides and understood it and didn't,
And they got
hate
into
it.
equilibrium with
Yeah.
themselves. Yeah.
And on the floor where they're at the island where the old Jedi temple is, where Skywalker's at, on the floor there's this mandala underneath that pool of water, and it's this person sitting in a lotus position, and you know how you have the black and white circles where they're spinning against each other. It's kind of like that. Half of him is black, half of him is white, and it just like intermingled. The black and the white are intermingled.
So what is this?
Actually,
Yeah, go ahead.
so there is an actual, if you ever watched Star Wars, the Clone Wars saga, which is a TV show that fully explores more of the Star Wars lore, there's actually an episode dedicated, we find out why Anakin is so powerful, because there is a dark side and light side, but both sides coexist. The physical embodiment of them is known as a brother and sister, one of light, one of darkness.
That's the Clone Wars.
And-
Yeah.
And the whole idea of Anakin was to help bring balance to both sides, not let one take over the other.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of stuff happened, and both the Jedi and the Sith have always been at war with each other, which is why they're both two extremes.
Okay, so what's the consequence? I mean, if Paramvir's soul is his dad's, if that's the version that's on the planet, then that's the version that caused this accident.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because what happened, all right, they took him to this lab. They took a lot of angels to this laboratory and they did stuff to him. Do you remember all of that?
Yeah, I remember.
What she told you?
Yeah.
Would you tell them?
They did horrible experiments where they forcibly infused darkness into angels, forcibly. And it was very much one of the ways in how they would be able to try to get angels to have that type of side of themselves is by having negative emotions. So how they would do it was they would have that shapeshifter, turns out the same guy who basically gave me the fear of spiders in this life, ultimately would shapeshift into me to try and trick her into giving into darkness, into the negative emotions. And as I said, they were somewhat successful because when we find her, we seen her as half darkness, half light, but it's not something she wanted. It's not something she wanted naturally. It was forced upon her. So,
And it wasn't just her, it was other angels.
and it's also,
And we found it in my client Mark
Yeah.
yesterday.
Yeah.
Yesterday was a big day.
and I think they also did experiments outside of the lab because I think, well, you know how it seemed like Patty was always wanting to make us suffer.
Mhm.
That's because she wanted us to fully, have that darkness fully come forth
Well,
and
yeah,
have it in more, because she realized that some of the angels were successful, some were not. And the ones that were not were very much resilient and trying to remain on the light side. So she decided to start having where those who fight during the war and fight throughout suffering and whatnot will have a darkness that can be more natural, and it's something that they'll ultimately have throughout their whole existence, like me.
So,
Well, to me, the whole dark and light thing comes down to this one crazy thing I heard. It's like a parable kind of thing where this guy dies and goes to heaven, and actually, he dies and goes to hell, and he's being guided by an angel, and he's saying, I'm supposed to show you the realms of hell, so you believe this and can write about it or whatever. And one of the chambers where he opens up, there's a huge banquet table with really elaborate food on it. Just piled high, very big table, and it has these very long spoons and forks and knives on them, just very, very long, like 4 feet. And you cannot eat by grabbing it. You have to use the forks and knives and spoons and stuff. And so in hell, they're like grabbing some pudding or something or mashed potatoes, and then they pick it up and try and have it fall into their mouth. And they're all looking very famished, very skinny, not very healthy. And then he's taken to heaven, and they open the door, and the exact same table is there with the exact same forks and spoons and knives. And he thinks, how can this be heaven? These people are going to look just like their counterparts in hell. But then when they come to the table, they give grace for being thankful and stuff instead of being starving, trying to eat whatever's on there. And then they start getting the food and they feed each other across the table. That's really, to me, dark and light. You are willing to give to others or meet somebody halfway, as opposed to just being unbelievably selfish. It's only you, and nobody else. You ain't got time to help anybody else because it's all about you.
Exactly. Yeah,
Well, and that's what Reuben battles.
that's exactly what he's battling. That's the reason why he's hanging out in that dark, and dark will serve him. But
The
it really
price.
it doesn't go as far as light does. Light gives you a lot more, and he's got
He's
a
all about the
balance.
shortcuts. That's why he got pissed, because he doesn't want to work for it. He doesn't want to do whatever he has to do.
I think there's another level too, like, oh, they're getting more than I am, so I'm not going to do anything. And I did not believe this concept. I thought people would get out of it till I saw what my brother did. There was I had never even heard this in the Bible, but he said it's in there. Because whenever you see a movie of Solomon and it comes up to his wisdom or whatever, there's this mother who says her baby is not the baby that died. This other lady changed babies when she was asleep, and she's got her baby. And the other one saying, no, her baby died, this is my baby. And so then Solomon tells the soldier to draw a sword, cut the baby in half, and give each of them half. And then the one
Yeah.
mother who has the dead baby said, no, that okay.
Yeah,
not my
because
baby,
she really loved the baby.
yeah, the other one didn't care because Richard was already dead. So he knew whose baby it was. But there's another story. And Richard tried it on his kids. Now he had two step kids and he had two of his own. And their mindsets were completely different. I had started listening to audiobooks, and Tarzan was a really cool one, so I lent to Rick. And he was going to sleep, so he turned on the cassette player and he was listening to Tarzan. And then his two little kids, his own children, came in and laid down. They're listening to it, and you can see the whole thing playing out in your mind. And the other two, the ones who were stepkids, they came in and then they had to get up. This is hurting my head, and they get out. They couldn't understand, just picture it all in their mind. Well, he had bought two big Snickers bars because they were on sale, and the kids were cleaning up outside the house. So as a reward, he's gonna give them a Snickers bar. But what he had them do was he's gonna cut it in half. And of course, they're complaining, oh, they're gonna get the other half or whatever. So the youngest two, he told them, okay, here's a Snickers bar. Now the oldest, Ricky, he's gonna cut it in half. Now Ricky cut it as best you can to make that as even as possible. And then the little one, Joshua, you pick first, which is pretty much what Solomon did when they had to split this land that nobody knew how to do it. And so they did it, right? That Ricky cut it and Joshua picked one. And then when the other two came in, he did the same thing to them. And they're like, no, he's going to get the bigger half. Well, cut it as even as you can. No, he's going to get the bigger half. So he gives the knife to the younger one. Okay, you cut it. And then he chooses first. No, he's going to get the bigger half. And I go, Rick, what? How did you solve that? He goes, I ate the Snickers bar.
Then nobody gets nothing.
Yeah. But their
Yeah, 'cause
mindset was so different, It's like, okay, we'll cut it as best you can. We should get it bigger. Well, okay, got a little bit bigger, but you should have cut it better, So
That's pretty sad.
it is. And that showed me the mindset that there's this mindset on earth and there's not really much you can do about it. They're the ones that
Well,
really
that's
take off
true
with,
because
whoa.
there's always somebody that thinks that, somebody else gets something. That's what we was talking about, the weeds in my garden. And Brennan asked me, is the weeds in the garden about people trying to live off of your success? And I heard yes. And he goes, well, could we do something about the weeds? I said, well, my thought is take the weeds, and I got this big 2,700 gallon tank, and I'm gonna put the weeds in there and make a fertilizer out of it. And then use the fertilizer to feed the ground, which the weeds are taking from the ground, pulling up from the bottom of the ground what the top of the ground needs. And then I make a fertilizer out of that, and I benefit off of what the people are trying to live off of me, as the weeds are showing, so then I benefit off the weeds, which creates a whole new fertilizer I can sell.
Yeah, and that's a system. That's a circle. Whenever, yeah.
It's a
Sustainable.
circle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, instead of trying to find all the people that are trying to live off of me and and my success, because you're always going to have that. You're always going to have somebody trying to,
Be
you
a
know,
leech.
yep, you always have leeches. You just gotta
Well,
recognize them and, you know, and that's where Joseph's at. Like, you gotta recognize your leeches, Joseph.
Well, and that's, Ruben shared with us, I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before, that he had spent the day before with his sister Debbie, the other youngest kid. And she's the one that took him to the doctor and on to the hospital. And he managed to talk her into sharing how much they sold the business for. And that each of them got a lot of money, but of course, a lot of money came out of their share.
Taxes.
But he was just real quick to lump himself right into the same category as Joseph is, well, we helped them get that business going. His sweats off our back is what, did that, made that business. I said, Ruben, you didn't have any risk. You weren't the one up there 7 days a week, all hours of the day and night. So no, we don't deserve
We
their
talked
money.
about that, didn't we? Me and Brandon talked about that. We talked about that. Ruben was gonna try, there was money involved somewhere. And we thought that it was involved in Hector's life insurance. But it did come up, didn't it? It came up that he's gonna try to pull out money from somewhere.
He's
out
always
of-
scheming to try and pull out money or to create money he falls for all kinds of scams on the internet. Other women have tricked him into giving him money, Yeah. Always the quick
But-
rich thing.
It's not always quick and rich.
No,
It's,
he just tries to make it.
you have
He's
to,
always
you
trying
have
to
to
get
put
that
in some kind of work.
consistent. Mhm.
Yeah, you gotta be consistent in your life. You know, even like my business, the herbal business, if I didn't do the work, I wouldn't get the royalty.
Oh, if you
out.
didn't put the time in, you would have no potions to sell. You would have no scrub to sell. That's the thing.
Mhm.
Ruben is, what effort he does make is always on trying to find a way to not spend effort to make money or get what he wants. All his effort goes into not trying to make effort. It's really weird. That's what it seems like anyway. Does that sound right? Yeah. So I'm literally telling him, Ruben, because I could hear his mind where it was going. I'm like, because he's saying they made like $1 million a piece. I'm like, yeah, well, even if they did get all that money, they're the ones that paid with their lives. Their whole lives were focused on that business for at least 7 years. How many years did they have it?
About 12.
More like 12 years. Yeah, he was off
Like Joseph
farting
said, you got
around.
taxes. You got taxes.
Oh, they didn't get to
No.
keep anywhere near $1 million a piece.
No,
I'd be happy to, I mean, really, they might only got about half of that by the time all that happened. And all the fees that they had to pay and like you say, taxes. So, but
Because
yeah.
he Hector sold the business before and he didn't make hardly any money the way they worked it out. It all pretty much went in the wash. And so this one, it was different. And
They
I was
really worked
grateful.
hard.
I told Ruben, you should be so grateful that somebody wanted to buy the company before the market dropped out because they were getting away from us. We didn't have enough drivers. We couldn't find enough drivers. We sure as hell couldn't find enough helpers. Rachel fell off the back of a truck trying to do, help. And she owns the company. She's got no business.
It was
needing
just
to be in
growing
the
so
back of the truck.
fast.
And we just didn't. We also were, the trucks were breaking down. One time we had 5 trucks break down. Nothing super, super major, but 3 of them needed to
Tons
be
of
towed
money.
in. And we were there almost all night, me and Hector, trying to get them running
Thousands of
again.
dollars.
But Ruben wasn't there trying to get them running.
No, he wasn't spending any stress on anything.
And we had to
So-
drive in the morning.
But he lumped himself right in with Joe, who would always be there. He's the one that was always with Hector, helping him at all hours, and especially when they first got it going. So that's just how he is. So he has decided to live, and yet we're just going to have to see how far he's willing to make efforts and not let him pull us down. And I'm willing to help him as long as we don't let him pull us
live, but at
down.
least work on his health a bit.
Mhm.
okay, so
So-
why we called you up here, Brandon? Was for
To help expand the planet that Patty's on.
yeah, should we expand the planet that Patty's on?
Or strengthen its boundaries.
I don't think so.
Why don't you ask?
Just this, from what I can see, it's almost like Earth, you know, long directions, and there's plenty of room for these things. They're not very big. A lot of them splinters are not very big. They're not a full human body. They just use splinters, a lot of splinters. So there's plenty of room. It's just there's nothing for them to feed off of, to leech off of. To
They can't make any mischief there. They have no one to pick on except each other. So they're
Yeah,
really frustrated, and that's making the activity really strong. Is there any need to strengthen the protection around the planet? That's what we could use some help with. I'm getting yes, that it would help to strengthen the shield they have around the planet.
Hmm.
So is there
would you
something?
help with that? Is there something? What was it that you said you had, to use the core of the planet?
Oh, the nullifier.
Yeah,
So what it'll do is
you gotta speak towards this one.
what it'll do is that it will, when activate, it can connect to the core of a planet and use its atmosphere to create a field that can nullify any powers. So no magic spells, no teleportation, none of that. And that could be what you can use to help strengthen the seal.
Boundary around there. Yeah, seal. That's a good word. Exactly. It is sealed. Yeah, they can't have any layers or anything. It's completely all, yeah, it's like a big circle all around. Yeah. No holes, no leaks. So, okay, cool.
So what do you think about that, Joseph?
How does that sit with you?
I think that's a good idea. I had just put her there with all her magic and spells, but see, when I did the planet thing, I said, don't tell me where it is. I don't know what galaxy it's in. Just put them there on the planet.
Yeah, that way nobody
And
can pick your
that way they
brain.
don't know where Earth is, so they can't.
Yeah, so
back.
they can't, yeah, that's what, I was wondering if like they had like, found their way back, because I was finding so many. But they said no, that
So many of them. Yeah.
there's so
But I never
many
thought to
of.
do away with the magic or cancel it out or nullify it or anything like that, which would really frustrate her, and which is good because the frustration is like rattling the damn cage so that they wake the hell up. Realize
Well, I know the other night Devontae was wanting to put her in the abyss, but that's just too complicated. I don't think that's a good idea. Until
Well, because she's tired of
I don't
it.
blame her. She gets so many physical symptoms, you know.
She's,
But I'm like, no, we can't do that, honey. She's not
I
yet
know,
anyway.
she's like, I'm done. Because every time she turns around, she shows up in her, and we suck her out. I asked Metatron to take her, or Brandon opens up the space to
Suck her out.
shoot
Yeah.
that ball straight to that planet, and that's the reason why there's so many that showed up on the planet, because we're still finding her. She's not with my client Mark anymore. We've cleared that because she was his and my mother in angel time. So we cleared all of that. But Joseph was talking about, so if you want to hand that over to him, you'll have a copy.
Yeah.
Okay, so the other thing, Brandon, is Joseph's talking about Hector. So he just passed it to you, Joseph,
Felt it.
and about rewinding timeline before Hector died
Mhm.
and making do something different that day.
Okay.
And
That's
then
what our goal is. Yeah. If he wants to, if he agrees, if he wants us to try, Creator said we could, because this is not normally allowed.
Yeah.
Or help.
well, it's not so much just not allowed.
It
It's
just
like
is
no rules for it. Which
Yeah.
is why they can do this kind of stuff. They see what
But
the
they
future
just want to be
outcomes are, and
careful
they
with it.
try and push one. But I have altered the timeline myself already. So I figured, okay, well, you didn't like it the first time I did it, but now everybody's all happy about it. So I am God, and what's the point of me being God if I don't act like
We
one?
can't do anything, yeah. So, I
Well,
guess
God
what we,
himself also restricts
What's that?
also
themselves.
what? We couldn't understand you.
God themselves also restricts themselves whenever
Gods restrict
it
themselves
comes
too.
to. Is it
Yeah.
keeps self-control,
Right, they restrict themselves,
responsibility?
Right.
but the opponents we have on this planet do not restrict themselves. That's what they're known for.
Only if it suits
So
them.
I'm just fighting fire
Well,
with
that's
fire,
also because the people
playing by
on
their
less
rules.
too. That's the bigger difference. The people on this planet who have a lot of power are given that power because the other people who give them that power allow it and just willingly do it. That's a major difference.
That's true.
Yeah, and one of the things they do is they supposedly they tell you they're going to do something before they do it, and nobody opposed it, nobody spoke against it, and I believe that the World War I and World War II were written into this document. It's like a book, and it's open, it's behind glass, it's in the museum, and so okay, well we let everybody know, and nobody objected, so we went ahead and did it. Years later, century later. And I'm like, well, nobody objected to my dismantling of Comet Ison while it was happening, so too late now to put in your complaint.
So I want to find out what Hector wants. So we can make a plan.
I believe he wants, if it's possible, to shift timeline and nothing happened, have that happen.
Well, when she gets back,
Okay,
we'll see what she
Hector.
says. Oh, can you hear her?
Oh, I just came to I forgot my patch.
Yeah, I need to get one
Hector,
too.
would Hector, would you want the
Truth.
timeline shift? Yes. Would you want to be ascended master? Of course. Would you want to go in the divine light protection witness program? No.
No, I got a big no on that immediately. He's not interested in coming back unless he can have his life back.
Would you like to have your life back? I hear
Big
you.
yes. All
Very
right, then
good.
we got to find
Very
out what to
yes.
do. Okay.
Oh, Hector, my head hurts.
And I'm still not hearing him very much.
Okay,
So I've got to still keep
a long
allowing.
time ago, I spoke with the shaman, and I was telling him about all the things I was seeing coming about, like the pole shift and all these, and there in a pole shift, you would have a lot of people die. When the shockwave hits the planet, you would have a lot of people die. But for some reason, that's not going to happen because of the elevated frequency of the consciousness of the planet. And I told him, well, if I could reach enough people and we could all hold these thoughts of elevated consciousness related to a specific problem, like a war breaking out or whatever, and we could nullify that so it doesn't happen. And with energy, consciousness, thought, and intention. And I said we could do a lot of good on the world. And he said, yeah, it would, but you don't need a huge group of people. It really only takes one. One could do all that.
Who
And
said that?
I was kind of like shocked by
Who
that.
said that?
It was a shaman.
It's really true.
That
Mhm.
stone. And so I thought, well, why don't I become that one? I've already made massive changes, so why don't I make more? And there would be so many things like this monkeypox thing breaking out. Like Ebola. They brought Ebola, they flew it into the country in Dallas and Nebraska and hoped they would spread out from there. But people didn't give it the energy they wanted, and so it didn't spread from there.
Mhm.
And apparently this monkeypox is showing pictures of all these blotches all over people's arms. That's actually a reaction from the Pfizer COVID-19. That is not monkeypox. But since so many people got the COVID-19, Pfizer, and if Pfizer can make their bodies react on somehow by sending out certain frequencies or whatever, then they're, monkeypox, and everybody loses their damn mind.
Mhm. Okay, so how do we go about this is the next questions. One more thing. Sandy, when I called her, his wife, last night to share with her what we had found out, she shared with me that Hector had confided in her a few times that he was concerned that he may not make it to heaven because he didn't go to church on a regular basis. And she said he wanted to go to church, but he would never make the time to take off work to where, he could make it happen regular.
But that had nothing to do with going to have you would
I'm just
never.
saying,
I know.
we can
That's
address
true.
it right now.
That's true. That is true.
Come.
Thank you.
That's probably the reason
Richard.
why he won't
How come?
pass into processing, because he believes that he
Does not belong in heaven.
doesn't belong in heaven because
That's
he
it.
doesn't
That's
Richard's
why
the
it
same
came up,
thing, because
so we'd know, I
no,
imagine.
that is the Catholic
And
religion.
because he
here.
hasn't been processed yet, he would know better if he had been
That's
processed.
what I'm saying. If he was processed, he would know he's one with God, the unbelievable.
God
lovely
doesn't judge
revealed,
us like the humans do.
and the one who's judging what he's going to see is himself.
Hector, did you hear what I told Sandy last night? And I meant it. And the angels can confirm this, the ones that have come to offer you the Ascended Masters
And
thing.
you can remember my book because you read it.
Mm.
That was never part of what Jesus said. We were never lost. He came here to give us an example of who we are because we've forgotten.
So you were not judged and denigrated because you didn't go to church. God never said we had to go to church in order to love him
Go to
and
the
to be
priest
true
and
to him
church.
or her. So you have no reason to feel guilty about not going to church. That is not going to hurt your anything. That's not going to hurt anything. A lot of people that go to church are not good moral people, but they go for appearances. So church isn't the main issue.
That's how you live your life.
It's so true. Okay. Hector. Our light keeps flipping in and out. Would you like to talk to Jesus right now? Jesus, would you like to talk to Hector?
Hi.
Absolutely. So Hector, please allow the master Jesus to
Brandon?
explain to you how God loves you and would not hold that against you.
Oh my God, I want
It's so sad. Yeah.
So, Hector, I know I'm not, my name isn't Jesus in this timeline. It hasn't been for a very long time, but I am, in fact, Jesus Christ, and my mother here is Mother Mary, the one that was impregnated by the heavens. So, the God itself does not judge, nor does it choose to judge, for it sees all of creation, all of its children. It loves everyone. We might not think so because of what goes on in our daily lives or what's going on in the world, but that's more of our own byproducts rather than the God itself. Is God could try to teach us, hold our hands, but it would only dampen and pamper us and not allow us to explore and learn things. So that's why God takes a hand off the approach when it comes to us. It may seem unfair, but God learned itself that that was the best method for its children. Because if it doesn't, we would have a whole different situation.
We'd have a lot of spoiled children.
Also,
Not only that, but
there's a lot of beings here on Earth that Hector would have access to. Where we can't hear him, but they can hear him and communicate with him, and that's exactly what they would be telling him. No, you can't call his name. No, you can't. It's gonna go really bad for you. Better just stay with us. You better stay here.
Wrong, Hector. They're lying to you. And one of the angels is asking to speak to you through me right now. So bear with me a minute. Who is it? Metatron, I think. Dear one, you are being invited to become an ascended master. Think you we would ask this? Did you not qualify? So I understand your concerns, dear one. It is you feel this way because your church, the Catholic Church, is the oldest established Christian church, and the way they became this big institution is through fear and control. They would only allow one Bible in the churches, and people had to go to church to read it, if they even knew how to read. And ever since those early days, they have done anything they could to influence people to come through the doors and give them money. It is not necessary to attend church to be honored and favored by God, Creator. You have lived a life that honored and helped your fellow man and the earth in many ways. And there is no way you would be denied access to being with the others that you love on this side of the veil. Know it to be so. Do not let that fear control you, Hector. It is not valid at all. So what say you, my friend?
Metatron, just to confirm, going through the process would not hinder him if I altered the timeline
What do you mean by hinder?
by allowing him to come back in his form in the past, in the timeline. I'll shift. In other words,
It
he
will
wouldn't be
not-
stuck in heaven and not be able to ever come out as Hector again.
Shifting the timeline will enable Hector to have the freedom to still be here on Earth.
But it'll have the added benefit of having the experience of the processing and feel how much God loves you.
All right, let's check
and
that
become an
next.
ascended
We don't know
master.
what's highest good. It is in highest good. All right, Metatron, help us know this. Is it in highest good for Hector to go to processing before we do the timeline attempt? I'm getting no. If we're going to do it, we should go ahead and do it before he crosses, is what I'm getting.
Why did I get yes? What'd you
I
get?
got yes.
Yeah, then let's
heard
find out.
that
I got
It's a
yes.
combination of
I had a
yes,
knowing of yes before she ever asked the question.
Okay, well then that's why I was asked.
Yeah, I
obviously.
got yes too. And Brandon got yes and no.
Good, I'm glad.
So
It is in highest good
think
for
it's-
Hector. Well, we never did our statement, so let me do that. Do you guys want to
hang
do it
on,
with me?
let Brandon finish his
Yes,
thought
please.
process here.
I think
Yes,
the reason
please.
why I got yes and no is because what we should do is not the alternate timeline where most of that experience he's experiencing now is gone, but merge his past self with the future alternate version of himself. This happened in One Punch Man manga.
Time doesn't exist, so it would totally benefit him. It's basically like you're going to San Antonio, and instead of going Highway 16, we went off 1604 to 37, or so
Yeah.
Hector's gone 1604 to 37. So all we're doing is changing the time so that when he's back on 16, he doesn't get railroaded off the path, and he keeps going straight on 16.
Yeah, is there anything about
Yeah.
that will help make it less likely for the dark to mess with him?
Yeah, if he had the
Well,
experience of the, what would you call it, being there and having and seeing the playing out of his life and judging that, if he had that under his belt, he'd be less less susceptible to anything they're doing.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense to me that he would be more.
Sure.
it works similar to like when if you guys ever actually played sort of video games, whenever you end up going through a level and you end up dying, and then you restart or load from a previous save, and you have that knowledge, you figure out how you can counteract the issue you're facing. So he's going to be facing the same issue, but he's going to have the knowledge of how to counteract that issue when
Yeah,
it comes.
there you go. Yeah, that makes sense.
And this is also like, so him having the experience of him being processed, he'll have that experience, but he'll also will still become an ascended master, because if we merge his past self before he died and the current him now, it will allow him to be able to not only experience this stuff and realize all this, but also allow him to basically, it's like a cheat code of sorts. He'll be able
Skip
to
some steps.
give some steps, but also be able to counteract what happens with him in the near future.
To me, what keeps coming to mind is this Japanese proverb where this samurai is complaining because of all the training he's had, and he's in the garden every day gardening, and he asks the master, what is the point of all this training? And I'm in the garden with you and we're gardening. And he says, better to be a warrior in a garden than to find yourself a gardener in the middle of a war.
Oh, yeah.
That's really
makes sense.
wise.
Yeah.
Really wise.
Because there's many stories of people who were just farmers or gardeners who were placed into war, which is why there's reason why some soldiers did take up hobbies in times of where there wasn't war. So that way they would have time to be able to enjoy life to counteract the idea, the whole point of death.
Okay. So where do we go from here? Team, we need to know what you recommend to make this work.
Gonna have to pull out a device out of my vault. So hopefully I never have to use it.
Use one of Brandon's devices. They're saying, yeah, one of your devices would help, or they're gonna have you tweak it to update it.
Yeah, it's gonna maybe update because it's been a while. It was during the time when my two sides are fighting each other. So it's one of those type of weapons.
To me, it's her plan would be the simplest through, because he was told, Hector, don't go get them. We'll still have another truck. You know, they deliver these large these large containers for garbage, 30 yarders. They can just put the carts in there, and that's how they had been getting them. But Hector figured he's got the time, he can go do it. So just to convince him, okay, well, I'll just let that go. I'll work on something more pressing here.
More important that he can do. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think it would be better that he's not on highway at all, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah, because he got skills that a lot of his workers doesn't. So if he could be doing something that he, if he could get engaged in something that
Why
he
can't
can
we
do.
get him the thought on, like, Hector, why couldn't we get you on the process of starting the process that you and Joseph was working on of converting these machines for the planet,
Yeah,
for,
it's a very
for the
worthy project.
business?
Yeah,
To
very
get him
worthy.
in that day, to get him back into that mode of creating that and drawing it out, then that shifts his whole spectrum, because he was actually, you guys, was taken off of that and you never created it. So to get him on that creation of creating
His
those
mission.
machines for his mission.
Yeah, so
well, the machines are in existence already. We would just need to build the facility that would house the machines.
and make it more practical, I'm getting. Yeah, it needs fine tuning, the whole thing, but you guys are good at figuring things out. So, all right, so Hector, would you have interest when you come back to take up the idea that you and Joe came up with of how to help
Well,
the
we didn't come
planet?
up. Norway does it. Norway doesn't have landfill. Norway has to bring trash in from other countries to be able to run enough power for their system, because it's so
Because they're
economical,
small,
profitable,
yeah.
and they don't make enough trash to power the whole everything they're doing. So they're actually
Do you
importing
remember
garbage.
that idea you and Hector, I mean, that you and Joe came up with? Would you be interested in working on that still?
Because it would make it so much more profitable.
I'm hearing yes.
Yeah, because we think this is one of your life purpose things that you'll find out if you go get processed before we do this. That's another benefit of getting processed before you come back. You'll be cleaned up and, in good shape either way though. So team, what do you recommend? It isn't, like you said, it isn't high school for him to be processed. So what's our timeline?
What do you mean timeline?
So Hector, would you be willing?
To be able to get him to come back,
Yeah.
change the
Oh.
timeline. How long
Yeah, in
do we
July.
have?
We would just, on that day in July, make him actually.
No, that's not what I'm talking about, though. I'm talking
What?
about how much time do we need to allow if he's willing to go be processed before we
There's
schedule
no time
whatever.
over there. He could have done it already and come back. It's like 1 second.
I know there's not, but there is for us.
I know, but it wouldn't affect us. He could go get it all done and be ready in minutes.
Oh, that was the wildlife rescue. I didn't see it. Damn it. I looked up just as it went off. Shoot. The wildlife people calling me back.
pull
Let me
him
see if I
back.
can catch him. Yeah, I'll try it. Doo, 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 doo.
He might be leaving you a voicemail.
Okay. So I'm
You
wondering,
see, time doesn't exist there. You heard of people having near-death life experiences, and for them, some of them it took like weeks of time or 50 hours of time, but they were only gone for an hour or two here. And I know people that have been picked up in UFOs. They were already working with these government things, and one guy was taken for 3 weeks. He knows it was 3 weeks he was taken, and yet not more than 10 minutes expanded in the timeline when it took place.
Yeah. It's very true, because time over there is different.
Time is not an
If you
issue at
do,
all. It's an illusion.
it is. I created a medicine wheel in the backyard. And it's not that hard. You just, create flowers around it, a little garden. And you intend it as a medicine wheel. And Brandon's experienced the medicine wheel. And we have been inside the medicine wheel and watching right on Colfax and Pierce, right there on Colfax and Pierce, where Castaneda is. We would sit in the backyard and we would watch traffic go like this, just flying, time flying. But inside the medicine wheel, the time was different. Or it went fast inside the medicine wheel and slow outside. It depends on what we was doing.
Time I did a healing on a friend of mine, his hand was all swollen. His cast had come off, but his hand was still swollen. And I knew the pain of it because I'd broken my wrist a while back. Yeah, I couldn't even pull tape off of a roll of tape. There was just no strength there. And anyway, his hand was swollen like one of these things that, just really puffy. And I was about to leave his house. It was almost 2 a.m. And I decided to go back and ask him, hey, would you like me to do some energy work on your hand? He goes, yeah, the cast comes off tomorrow. They're going to take some x-rays. And I go, okay. So, no, I'm sorry. The cast had come off, but they didn't have time for x-rays. It would be x-rays in the morning. And I did my work. And then within seconds, we're both looking at his hand just go down in size, and it's perfectly fine. He can move his fingers completely. Where I know when mine broke, I could barely go like that. It would just hurt. I couldn't close them all the way or make a fist or have any strength in my fist, but he was able to do all that. And so then the next morning he's all excited telling the doctor what happened. The doctor's just dismissing it. He's got to hurry up with the x-rays, go down there and I'll get him and we'll talk. And so he goes down there, and then the doctor comes in all excited. What the hell happened? This cannot be right. He goes, no, you don't understand. He's trying to tell you. He goes, no, you don't understand. Whenever I saw the break you had, I saw the x-ray, I always have to go in there and put this pin in. I always have to do that. It's not possible your hand healed the way it did. There's nothing wrong with it right now. I don't have to go do anything right now. And then he said, I'm trying to tell you that's what happened last night. But it was like time didn't, like the rest of the time was fine, but right there was a tremendous amount of healing within seconds. And then Ruben goes, why didn't you film it? I go, I didn't expect that to happen.
I know. Yeah. Well, that's like, when I do work on people in massage, a lot of times we're going into a different time space and changing things,
See, I learned also that you've seen like from the 60s and 70s and sometimes in the 80s they would have a psychic come on stage and you're supposed to do something, move objects or whatever, right? But they could nothing would work. No matter what they did, nothing would work. The reason for that is because everybody who's watching that in the future being filmed, if they don't believe it, they'll counter his ability. Like Jesus, when he was in town trying to heal and he couldn't heal anybody, the town's negativity literally canceled his abilities out. They didn't believe he could do that. So, because they knew him, they knew his they knew what his limitations were, or what they imposed on him. And so there's no way in hell he can cause a leper to just stand, heal immediately, or get a crippled guy to just start walking normally. And so that their disbelief canceled you out. And so I was told never to photograph stuff or film it that I'm trying to do in that realm, because anybody in the future will cancel it out.
Okay, so
yeah, that's where a miracle of healing. Like you just got to believe that it's a miracle of healing. Like, okay, like I had a client, Ruth, not Bedford, but Ruth Moore. I worked with her and she ended up getting cancer in the lungs, and I worked with her a few months, and then when she went to the doctor, they like said that she didn't have cancer, that they misdiagnosed her. But what happened, we took her back And I gave her a medicine bag. I worked on her, every other day or a few minutes. It wasn't like long. It was like maybe 10, 15-minute sessions. And when she went on they gave her 7 months to live. She went on her 8th month, and they told her that they must have made mistakes and got the
Yeah.
wrong.
Diagnosis. Yeah. Yeah. No, you healed her. That's great.
Yes. Yeah, so, yeah, and if I would have documented that, would it have stayed the way it was? Probably not.
Because our, like you say, our brains and our belief or not
Because they're
make
in
all the
essence-
difference.
They're an instance of creator, just like we are. And if they don't want to believe it,
Who are
that's
you
what
talking
happens.
about?
Anybody who sees the video,
Yeah.
a lot of them are aspects of creator, which is why the universe ended in 800 years into the future, which is why we were sent back. The Lord's canon always said something horrible has happened in the future, and they figured out the best way to fix it. It was caused by Earth and what happened here, the apocalypse. So they sent all these volunteers to go back into the timeline way before, again, altering the timeline, by going back into the timeline and then raising the consciousness of humanity so we completely bypass that road and never go down the apocalypse, because it's so changing and so altered and people are so awoken. And you just go back in history and just some of the movies I've been watching, some of the older movies, the racism that was there, the way that children were treated, the way women were treated, and the like indentured servant slaves and stuff, and the way the laws were working. We have come a long way in a very short time spiritually.
Yeah. And technically.
Yeah, we have.
In many
Well,
ways.
and they're telling me, well, Katana, look, this is what you do every day for your people. You alternate timelines. Brandon did yesterday, right? Alternated a timeline for Mark so we could move him out of that timeline and move him forward.
You guys are catching them they're saying, hey, there's an exit coming up, take it. Whereas I'm saying, like, God sent us back into time, go back in time and make a change. And I've seen these changes get made. That's why the Bible is so awkward, because it says in Isaiah 11:6, it says that the wolf shall dwell with the lamb, not the lion shall lay down with the lamb. And if you go to a Christian store, just try it sometime. Go walk into a Christian store, you can see a poster of a lion and a lamb, and it's got the quote. And look for the ones that have the Isaiah 11:6 quote, and it says, "And a wolf shall dwell with a lamb." How did that happen? Why is there a lion pictured up there when it's always been a wolf? Because it was never a wolf before. And the word matrix is now in the Bible. All who enter the matrix, and the matrix is now the womb is being called matrix, which is what it is. It's a Stargate. Women have stargates in them that allow the soul to form into the body that's going to resonate with, and then they attach to it and they come in through the matrix, into the matrix.
Okay. So
That word wasn't in the Bible before.
It
No,
is-
it wasn't.
yeah.
It's 10 or 6 times now.
Yeah, it's crazy. So we got power and we can do this. What is recommended though? What we got for when we first started considering it, we were getting that we would want to get multiple people combining intention in order to make it strong enough to work.
I think we pretty much have it. What do you?
It can work with what we got now. Because the blades I use have just been, these blades are specifically, it's a short, if I can talk properly. A short sword, which is about probably about this big. And then a long sword, which is about like this long, representing the clock, the hands of a clock. So, and I just modified it to where it can now use the flames of creation to. Before, the swords can only control a specific area of time, where you can go back a couple of hours, or even go forward a couple of hours. This is because of the war between myself, but these swords have been augmented now to where they can now travel through time
That's where the
and
angels
change
come, the
things.
souls.
Maybe it would be a good idea to ask the angels exactly when we should intend to take him back to.
I hear before his death. I know we went a few minutes before his death,
I'm
but
thinking
basically
before
in the
then.
morning.
I'm thinking that day or the day
I
before,
hear it is him waking
whenever
up
he
from
was
that
told,
dream.
don't worry about getting the cards. That would be the ideal time to have him
I
not
don't know.
worry about getting the cards and just forget it. Just don't worry about it. They're coming anyway, so no big deal.
Yeah. So
What do you
from what I
mean?
hear, it's pretty much in the
Leticia told
morning
him,
of the
don't,
day.
Hector, don't go get the cards. We'll just have him bring them. But Hector went to get the cards. So if she tells him that, then he needs to listen to that and not go get the cards.
Right, but that
That
we're
alters the timeline.
I didn't say it didn't, hon. All I'm saying is that doesn't mean, I mean, we're talking about exactly when to take the timeline back to. And you're talking about exactly when he was told to go, that the carts needed to be picked up or delivered?
What are you talking about? Take the timeline. We're not taking the timeline anywhere. We're interfering in the timeline. We're
At
splicing.
what point?
I just told you that
It wasn't-
she tells him, don't go get the cards.
I'm asking Divine to tell us when is the best time in order to orchestrate him not getting the carts.
I'm right here, honey. Divine. And I'm telling you.
I'm just, you are very,
And
sometimes you are very like your own human brain running the show instead of your divine. So I just wanted to be sure.
well, Brandon's stating in the morning, like,
That's my sense too, is the morning that before that call came, or whatever that was, that he got those instructions to go get him. I mean, to go
He
take
didn't
him.
get the
So-
instructions. He didn't get the instructions.
So we need to
No
take
one
it back
told
to
him.
before then, where he can get the instructions. Is that what you're saying?
What instructions are you asking? To go get the cards?
You're the one that's talking about instructions. I
Yeah,
don't know.
she said, don't go get the cards. Okay?
Who said
he
that?
told him,
Leticia told him, don't
Okay.
bother Hector. We'll just have them delivered. It's a town maybe almost an hour away from here, a little over an hour from here. Well, an area we'd have to go drive to another one of the frontier locations where they've got a ton of carts over there and they can't get them out faster. Over here, they're growing so fast. The carts they just got a new account with 9,000.
So they had to go to a business that's slower than this business to get the cards, but he didn't have to go on his own.
He didn't have to go at all.
But he never heard her say that.
He heard her say that.
But he chose to go
He
anyway.
decided,
That's
I
what I
got the
thought.
time.
he's
I'll go.
saying that I chose to go out there.
Because he's hyper and likes to be busy.
Yeah.
Hector, I think I told you a few years ago that Spirit was saying that you could get yourself in trouble and cut short your life because of being too workaholic in your attitudes. So you'll have to consider having a more moderate life
This has
and
got to
taking
do
more
with-
time to really feel your way before you
Yeah.
decide to do things, rather than automatically say that you're willing, you're just going to do whatever's in front of you. Are you willing to be more mindful like that? He says, oh yeah, he learned a lot, he said.
Okay,
It's-
I had a dream this morning of this child dragging around this cart and dragging her around everywhere. And I spent all morning in this dream, at least 3 hours, 3.5 hours in this dream.
Okay.
And the child's dragging around this cart everywhere. And then when it was then we came to a house and the child says, I need to finish what I was doing and get my stuff out of this place. And I said, okay, let's go take care of it. So we went into the home and the cart was in the hallway. But then, and they told her to get out, not to be there, not to do anything, but she wouldn't listen. And so when I said, okay, it's time to go, and I said, it's time to go now, she couldn't find the cart. And then she was in the closet picking up stuff. And while we was talking about this, I could see that it was actually Hector. He was not listening to what he was being told. Ask if that dream, oh God, my ears are screaming, with your pendulum, if that has to do with Hector.
Yes. It is related. In what way?
Because he didn't listen to what they was telling him.
He has a
And he-
pattern of rushing ahead and not considering, including when he's trying, when we are trying to educate him. So when he's human, this lifetime, his character and personality has expressed as being very much rather driven in his energy. And so he doesn't, it's a rush mode pattern that needs to be shifted.
And ask if this dream has to do with you too, Betty.
Okay. Stream also has to do with me. The energy dropped a little bit, but I got yes. But it did drop, like a drop, and then it stabilized and I got yes. So, okay. So she's wandering around, pulling that cart around for 3 hours. During part of your explanation, my brain wandered off to the possum for some reason. So what else happened in the dream? Would you mind repeating that? I'm sorry.
So we went to a house and we're at this house, and it was two women in the house, and she was only supposed to talk to them, but all of a sudden she was in their stuff, going through their business in their closet. And next thing you know, she pulled out this basket and she's throwing all this stuff that's not hers in the basket. And then I'm talking to the ladies and I'm like, okay, where'd the cart go? And they're like, we don't know. The cart just like disappeared. And then I'm like, okay, I've dealt with this all day today. Why is she digging through everybody, like your guys' stuff? And she's like, no, this is mine.
Okay. I
I'm
wonder what
taking
else
it with me. And then I woke up going, what the hell was that? I was so frustrated when I woke up. I was in frustration. So ask, I don't know.
Okay. So the child in the dream putting other people's possessions in her cart and claiming them as her own does relate to Hector. It does relate to me. In what way? Help us understand it.
How old was the child? Around 3 years old? Or older?
Older.
The
3,
child-
maybe 4.
That's
Three,
the
four.
that's the age when everything's theirs. Mine. It's mine.
Oh, that's a good point. That's a really good point. Okay, so does this child represent Betty? This child represents
It
me.
looks like theirs. It's theirs.
No, the child's not me, but I've been there somewhere.
That's about the age they're also standing there with their fist clenched in the hallway, ready to take you on.
I suspend all opinions, assumptions, agendas, beliefs,
I'm
thought
so
forms, and
frustrated.
anything
I'm
else
like,
that comes between me,
let's
believers,
come
even
on, let's
interpreting
go.
the information,
Time to
guidance, and
go.
objective. I'm doing my suspending thing because I'm want to be sure I'm accurate. I return to syndrome. Geez, from others that are deaf or not. Okay, so how does this dream that Tana had relate to Hector's situation?
Well, I think some of it is like him running around doing things that he didn't need to do.
Yeah, he really did expend a lot of energy that was not necessary. and trying to manage that was one of the ways in that he would deal with his concerns and regrets in this life, was just stay busy instead of thinking and working through them.
There was a guy that we used for, he did everything. He did the land, like bring in
An unwillingness.
the material we would need for the yard and spread it around for the trucks to drive on, that sort of thing. He also did welding, and he did a lot of projects that it would take us too much time to weld, and we just have him weld. And his name was Lacey, and he's pretty much a workaholic, whatever. He was always doing something. And he told Hector, he goes, Hector, you're gonna give workaholic a bad name. Because I thought I was a workaholic because you make me look like I'm lazy.
They're telling me he has in this life, he has suffered from an unwillingness to process emotionally. He is a doer. That is his identity. And this life, it has been. And it has still worked for him pretty well, considering he had most of his karma neutralized before he came. So, and he has had good intentions in his life, and this has stood him well. But this guilt over not going to church has also propelled him to be a doer. Instead of facing it and thinking through it, or even talking to a priest about it, do. And
Well,
then
I
you
think
don't
the
need to
priest
think.
would be like,
Detrimental.
It could have been, but the
it
point
would have
is,
been detrimental to him because he would be like,
Just
oh,
reinforcing.
well, it would have
son,
been depending on
bring
who
your
he spoke
money and
to.
yourself to the church.
Yeah, in many cases, but it would have depended on the priest. So, but the point we were making is simply that rather than take time to meditate, to think, to hone his intuition and to sense things, he does not. He rushes ahead, and this is his pattern. Just doing what needs to be done, and it builds his self-esteem because his culture programmed him this way. However, the lack of equilibrium is truly what has caused this entire situation. Because were he in a more balanced equilibrium, he would have not even taken the carts. He would not have been, he wouldn't have gone, this whole thing would not have happened. Or he would have listened to his self.
And I think having the knowledge of the process being processed would go a long ways to causing something like Sandy. Sandy went through a near-life experience and it changed her
A near-death.
completely. So this would be like a near-death experience for Hector, because he would experience that part of the experience.
Oh, I see what you mean, as far as changing
when he
him.
came back, it would alter him to be more spiritual. They're always more spiritual when they come back after
That's
that
a point.
experience.
There is a chance that Hector
Whether
will
they
come
want
back
to be or not.
oriented, more spiritual in this timeline when we rewind it.
He
Oh,
says,
big time.
okay, I will go to processing.
Thank you, darling.
Thank you,
So,
Hector.
team, give us what they've told me in the past regarding others is to allow 3 days. That's an approximate for the average human.
Is that 3 days?
Okay. It isn't good in order to allow 3 days for Hector to go with the angels and be processed.
That would be Saturday, Sabbath that we
So
do it.
don't feel bad, Hector. I will tell Sandy, she is so happy that we are communicating with you and helping you. So I will tell her, she will be so happy that you went to heaven. You know it. You know that's right. Yeah, she will. So we'll tell her you're going to heaven. And so she's not gonna, you're gonna be busy, Hector. You won't be able to come talk to us while you're doing that.
Also, 3 days is in the Bible, or in the Talmud, 72 hours. That's what's called the death watch. When someone died, died for whatever causes they weren't sure of, not necessarily.
We take them through many layers.
They place them in a room, comfortable, and the body would lay there, and they'd have a death watch for 3 days. And the people, half of them would come back to life. Okay, that was well known back then.
Because of the positive attention.
No, it has to do with the time they can come back before the body starts to corrupt. They're being processed or whatever's taking place. They found out in France, they were having to create a new road and it had to go through a cemetery. So they had to dig up the coffins, and they found out, because they had to replace the coffins, they were, beat up, that half of the coffins were scratched up on the inside. So these people came back to life after they were buried.
Oh my God, that's so awful.
And so then what they did was they started creating these coffins with the bell. And what's fascinating, if you ever see the bucket list, when they're in front of the Taj Mahal, Nicholson, or whatever his name is, asked Morgan Freeman, do they still make those coffins with the bells? Because what they would do is they put you in a coffin. They didn't have this whole embalming crap. And they would just put the body in the coffin. They tie your wrist. They tie a string to the wrist. There was a hole in the coffin, and then they bury the string straight up when they buried everything, so that could be pulled. And then they put a little bell there, and they
And
tied the
hang it
bell
on
to the string.
something. Mhm.
And that's why in the old movies like Abbott and Costello, you always see a guy out in the cemetery with a shovel, and he's got a lantern, he's got a dog, and there's usually another guy there sleeping. That was called the graveyard shift. Okay. And when they'd hear the bell ringing, they had to hurry with the shovel, go out there and dig them up. And it was called Saved by the Bell.
Oh, wow.
And so, and then when they came out with embalming, they fixed that. There's no way in hell you're coming back, or they take everything out and problemo solved.
Wow, I had no idea. So, okay, so team, do you want
Doesn't
us to
buried
go
alive.
ahead and schedule our,
Well, no, in my will, I'd like to put down that if I ever die, just put me there 3 days, don't touch anything, make sure I'm comfortable. There's AC's on at a nice temperature, and if I don't come back, then do whatever you gotta do.
okay, they're
Mhm.
saying, yes, it is indeed an excellent thing, for he will be prepped while he is with us. We will do our best to influence him to avoid the incident. And we do believe he will become a more spiritual person, which will take care of the problem, because he will sense that it is not his job to do.
It'll drive him to do more for Earth than he has.
It will drive him to,
See the bigger picture.
he will get excited about, this is why he's so in love with the trash business. These inventions are indeed his contribution. So the fact that Joe is such an old soul and knew about this is one of the reasons that he reminded Hector of this in this life. This is their project, and Joe is also chartered to participate. So this will also help Joe fulfill part of his purpose. So
Yeah,
yes, I do
If
think it
it's
will
in
change him
Joe's, if Joseph wants to choose to
if he
do that.
chooses. And it would indeed be smart for him to do so, for it will create a large income opportunity. So, all right, let's do this, people. Hector, come along, my dear. Oh, they're taking him now. Is he? Are they? Do you guys see that?
Yeah,
All right, I'll be back. He's like, don't you think otherwise? He's so strong, determined. He's got a strong will. That's part of what got him in trouble, though. That's what they're saying. He's got to calm down when he comes back, or he's going to get in trouble again. So they'll help him. We'll make sure that he understands this. They'll plant something in his fields, even. They're going to try to do some kind of mechanism to be sure that he has a more interest in spiritual matters and more resonance with spiritual matters when he comes back.
We have to, so, because we had Ruben's, session before that. So the angels need to get, Hector's parts back from Ruben.
Yes, team, retrieve the spiritual organs that wafted over to
Have him reworded.
Reuben somehow.
Rejuvenate his organs.
Let us change, yes.
Yeah,
now let's-
yeah, can we do that, Brandon, right quick? Are you and Joseph? Go back into that timeline of
when we did Reuben's session,
Okay,
what,
when we
3
do
days, it was
section-
3 days before, right? It was 3
I
days.
don't remember.
before.
I'll take
It
your
would have
word
been
on
about
it.
that time, because I wrote on the calendar July 24th, and I put an amount that I would ask if they take it for the shed. And Ruben had come in that day, and that was July 24th.
Okay,
He died on the 31st.
he died on the 31st, so it was a little longer than 3 days, but still, as long as I get the right. Before we want you to go into the timeline before Reuben asked for new organs, and we want to change it to
And
rejuvenated
allow Ruben to
organs.
understand what that might imply, and to reword it so that it wouldn't affect Hector.
Okay, all right, Joseph, he's going with, you want to go with him? And we'll support you guys.
Yeah, we can hold space for you.
But with Hector?
Yeah,
To watch the timeline to change it.
Oh,
With
I
Ruben.
figured when we did the healing, he could.
No, we need to get his
Okay.
organs back from him now.
Back now.
okay,
So we had 3 days.
activating the blade in
Needs to go
3,
whole.
2,
Oh.
1. Okay, we're at the point.
Hector
Of the
simply needs to
session?
call them back
Yes.
into himself.
Okay, so tell him.
Hector, you simply need to call that into yourself, have them
Call
scan
it,
you.
tell him
The
details.
organs, the liver,
Organ
and the
and
kidneys
yeah. Mhm.
back into your body. It's just like when someone
From
takes your
Ruben.
power, you take it back and you say that they do not have your permission to do this.
They're saying it was rather a natural thing. It wasn't on purpose
Right.
because he is related to Ruben. So after Hector got killed, then the energy fields are like, oh, this is the same DNA coding here. We'll just use these.
But, I'm still getting, it was all planned, it was planned.
So it
And
was
Hector
somehow
said
orchestrated
it was already planned. Yeah, it
to
was,
take his organs ahead of time. Wow. So you're getting that the whole death and everything was planned way ahead.
it was
Incorporating Ruben somehow.
after, because Ruben had stated that they told me I'm gonna get new organs. So whoever told
Oh,
him,
whoever they is.
I'm hearing
Gotta go back
Pat.
and listen to this one. We gotta go back and listen to that channel. Yeah, he probably had no clue who told him.
I'm hearing Patty.
Can I have Ruben's DNA as a sample?
Joseph, can he have Ruben's DNA as a sample?
Anything a sample of his
Permission.
DNA.
What do you mean? For what? Yes, of course.
He
That's
wants
it.
new organs, so I'm gonna be trading him new organs.
Oh, he's gonna help create him instead of him rejuvenating him.
Yes, I have the same DNA as well.
Well, then he needs a pancreas. If we're gonna be doing new organs, could you do him a pancreas? I'll ask that for him if it's not any trouble. Being type 1 diabetic is very, very bad, bad, bad. Oh,
But you guys stop speaking that from this point on.
fine. Yeah, I was telling Joe about 3 different things that are bad have happened, and I saw that immediately. I saw the correlation between words that I had spoken with emotion not too far ahead of them. So that proves how powerful the word is in someone who is highly activated, especially. So I've just got to start being, I've been trying all along, but I've just got to become more and more and more mindful of what I'm saying and to use that to my advantage instead of for harm.
Same.
It's not missing, damaged. What organs on Ruben are,
I know his pancreas is not working. He has no insulin production at all. And the kidneys and liver have also been damaged due to his poor lifestyle his whole life.
His intestines where his stomach is.
I don't know that he doesn't have any.
I don't know that he has
insulin
any
at all.
healthy organs. He has just
No.
spent,
No, I mean, I don't know that he doesn't produce any insulin.
well,
I don't know if the
he has
doctor
to
ever
use
told him that.
insulin. Well, he said, that's what he told me.
Oh, okay. I
He
didn't know.
told me he's
Okay,
type
what about-
1, that he doesn't produce
Okay, his
insulin.
heart's not doing good. I think I'm just gonna have to replace his whole entire.
If he doesn't
Right.
eat, he turns into a scarecrow. He's so scrawny, so he's not absorbing
Yeah, I'm
anything.
gonna have to just replace his entire.
Digestive tract.
I
gave
feel
him-
like some part of me goes, what the hell? Why would we wanna do this for him if he doesn't care about
He
himself?
doesn't respect.
Actually, he is.
What
He
we
started
could
drinking diet
do-
soda.
He has
And
taken
he has
actions.
stopped eating some stuff, so he is, and he's drinking a lot more water. So he did actually make that shift, and I was very grateful that he did. Told him I was, and so but he's gone so far down that road now that
Now he's
you know,
damaged. It's gonna be it's gonna take whatever it takes to get him back to where, because I mean, he was barfing his brains out Saturday at the balloon release because of the heat. And then he just kept barfing ever since. And that's why he ended up in the hospital the day before yesterday. And so they gave him anti-nausea medicine and he's like, oh, I'm okay now. And I'm like, duh, that did not do anything for the root cause, you know.
No, because the root cause was his body was rejecting
His organs are
Hector's
shutting down.
organ.
Yeah.
Well, he was rejecting his brother's, or his body was rejecting the organs. I think the rejection
That
is
could be,
because,
yes.
because in some part of him, he knew it was wrong,
You've been
what he
being
did.
nauseous was him rejecting the organs from Hector. Yes, you're right. He didn't really fully understand that that's who he would be getting the organs from.
So
it's what you how the way you said it. I'm being told.
is he willing to change?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
gotta change the verbiage. So Joseph, tell him you talk to him in that time. And get him to change the verbiage, and I will agree to
For
that
the
in that
request.
timeline.
Okay.
So ask him to state, I asked for rejuvenated, healthy organs in my body, you know, instead of replace.
Or I will be given.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it takes me back to being an asinine king that you're gonna get what you want.
But the question is that, is he gonna be willing to change what he's done in the past and not repeat?
Well, he did start sessions.
Mhm.
And he's asked for another one. So that's in, you know, he wants to keep it going. And he has been definitely making efforts with his diet and fluids because he was constantly drinking soda, not even diet, full strength sugar soda.
And drinking a lot of little Debbie snacks.
Yeah, little,
Yeah, so
you know,
he doesn't
just
have any-
That
trash.
soda isn't as good as
And he has stopped that.
normal soda.
He
Yeah,
has stopped all that.
any soda period is
Yeah, any
bad.
kind. So he's been drinking a lot of tea. And so he has made a start.
He started ordering different teas. He wants me to try. One of them is called watermelon tea or something like that. And
Did he ever order the patches?
no, he didn't.
To me, that would show me I'd have a lot more confidence that he's serious if he prioritizes money like that.
So what I'm building is it's not gonna outright replace, but it is going to merge with his current body and heal and restore many of his organs over time. But he needs to keep on making good decisions and not
Poor
Destroy-
decision.
poor decisions and destroying his body.
So it makes him have to be responsible.
And it's also similar to how the
Yeah,
patches
accountable.
work.
Mm-hmm.
This process will work similar to how the patches are.
Because he just can't get it, because if we just give it to him and
And it'd be just
That-
like everything else. He'll just take it for granted. Yeah.
yeah, he won't appreciate or honor what was done for him.
All right. Well, we will explain to him that his new organs are going to be provided by him taking the right actions because steps have been taken to heal him if he takes the right actions for his body.
So have we completed the action of him stating that he's going to rejuvenate his organs?
Have you asked him? Have you done that in the timeline yet?
No, I've been doing that with him personally, but I mean, I did it in the timeline. I went back. I didn't like put a whole lot of energy into it because I figured I would change his mindset, which isn't a now, which is the most important.
I don't think he ever
That
knew
would be,
Hector.
no, that would be good. That would be
Yeah.
good.
He's happy to do that. Yeah, he'll go over there and talk to him about it.
Yeah.
See what he
Because in that
understood.
way, it affects, because then he understands what he actually did in that timeline.
Mhm. Yeah, and he's usually listens to Joe pretty well. Better than anybody else anyway.
That's good. Okay.
Okay, so. Is it time to apply what I made to him?
You could could you give it to Joseph? And then Joseph do it when
Transfer
he
it?
talks to him?
Oh, that's a good
Yeah.
idea.
What's that?
Transfer
Can
it?
you take the machine that he made to repair his organs with you? And whenever you have the talk with him, then you could have a little thing with him and transfer it to
I
him.
got a device that can, basically, it's not repaired organs, but cloned. Which will be melded and combined with his current organs to
Like
help
meld with
heal
him?
them. It's
Is
like
it something?
it's like the stem cell
Oh, cool.
patch.
Cool.
Is it something I
It's a
have to place
rejuvenating
in the
thing.
room or place on his
No,
body?
it'll be in a little box. Basically, the clone body will be in a little box that you can attach to him, and then it will slowly meld
Into his body.
into his body, thus melting the clone body into him. It will take time for it to heal, but as long as he continues making good decisions and not stupid ones, he'll be fine.
I'm getting, see it between your, call it to you, but to come between your hands, the box. The healing box come to my hands and you'll feel it. You'll know when you got it. And then just place your hands on his belly or his back in the that area of the body. And it will go in. You guys get that? Do you agree?
Mhm.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And then just allow, and like you said, he doesn't have to do it perfect, but the machine is intelligent and knows if it's receiving what it needs. So he will definitely have to act better to keep it. It will default and melt away if he disrespects himself too many times.
Yeah. Like
It
it's
will have
okay
to
to
be
have
an
a cheat day with
occasional
some
thing.
things, but not all the time.
Right. Yeah, because nobody's perfect and that's fine. Okay, so all right, so how much time, Spirit, do we need to come before we do the timeline shift? How much time do we need to allow Hector?
72 hours is what I'm hearing.
3 days.
Okay,
Yeah,
so anytime after the 72-hour mark. So 1:45 on, what's today's Thursday?
Yeah.
Friday, sorry, Sunday. That's Sunday afternoon. All right. Do you still recommend that we gather people aside from this core group in order to do this feat? I am getting that we should include some others like Daniel and Sandy and Debbie, if they, as far as the family goes, I'm getting Sandy and Debbie. Anyone else in Joe's
I
family?
don't know about Daniel because Daniel,
Yeah.
does Daniel still speak to Patty?
Not much. I mean, he hasn't in a while. They've spoken at least once since all this went down, but not regularly. No, he's not seeking her out. But yeah, we would definitely need to make sure that he's not going to be a pathway.
Yeah, because we can't have,
Hurricane fearing or getting hold of one of my devices, which I made sure
She's
there's
trying
countermeasures
to.
in case.
yeah,
Because if you guys remember, I talked about how I created a sword that could cut the wings of an angel off or any other limbs. And ever since then, I made sure no one could do that again unless I
Well,
authorize it.
let's ask the angel's perspective on whether or not Daniel should be included based on what they see in him right now. And then we can go from there. So Metatron, please evaluate if you think Daniel should be involved in the process of shifting the timeline for Hector at this point. I'm getting no. Unless he shifts into he wants everybody to get along and he wants to minimize and not reject because he's young and it makes him uncomfortable to reject his friends, of course. But we cannot have any type of
But-
opening, as you said.
yeah, but the thing is, Patty, I feel like Patty's got her tentacles in him
Pause.
and she can come through that anytime she wants.
And
That's
probably
why they're
cause
saying not to include him.
Yeah,
Yeah, so-
because I have a feeling that if he did get involved, she will ultimately show up and cause a whole bunch of chaos.
Okay, no problem.
Well, and that's probably why I didn't want to be involved today. He senses it. He senses that he'll have to change. He'll have to do something different. And he's not
Oh,
up
yeah.
for it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's fine. We can do this. No, Ruben. It is not as good to invite Ruben to participate. Nope. So Debbie and Sandy.
I heard hell no.
Yeah. And
Debbie might not do it because she said,
it's fine. I mean, they're just,
well, the only reason is she said, if you do change the timeline, will I remember this? I said, I can't promise you won't.
we don't know either way.
But if she's involved in changing the timeline, I know I'm going to remember this.
Yeah,
Well,
so
you're a
she's
different girl
involved
than
with
she
changing.
is.
Right. I'm the one causing
So-
it. So
The swords will take any who want to go with the person who's using it. So when we shifted the timeline to do the whole Oregon thing, I had to connect my mom, you, Joseph, and Betty to the timeline. We're still connected, so I would just have to set us back to the current point that we were at when we left. It basically is like 1 second we were gone.
I've had a few dreams where I was telling her it was really strong this one time. The dream connects to other dreams in the past, and it's like a timeline where it's a totally different timeline. It has nothing to do with my father. And I'm like, that's not possible. That didn't happen. But it's so powerful and so strong, like it did happen. And so maybe it did happen and I altered the timeline back then, that I can actually come up in the dream and I can live the other timeline. And I know it's not the right timeline. I had this happen when I was on board ship. They said that when you're on board a ship for a long time away from land, you'll have really strange dreams, but they never elaborate what the dreams are. Well, what the dreams were for me was that I was having dreams of completely different timelines. Like one, my father didn't die in that trucking accident. And so I never went to the Marines. I moved right into trucking and I actually had a wife and 3 kids and later was divorced and so on. And it was really fascinating because all the aspects of everything in my family, everybody was covered. It was a family company, but it was in trucking. It was not the garbage company. And Hector never went to garbage. He went into trucking because that's what we were doing, into hauling sand in San Antonio. And that's always been very profitable here. So we would have done very well. So there were a lot of timelines. There were so many where I was actually living out that timeline because there was a change that didn't take place, a person I didn't meet, someone I didn't say hi to, or a place I didn't go. And so the timeline was altered and a completely different timeline I lived out. So that's what I was having. That's what I was experiencing.
Well, you're thinking of possibilities. So so our timelines are our entire timelines like a giant tree. We got the core path
Like the
of where we
angel-
start in the beginning
Vacuum out this
to
old.
town. So what you're experiencing is a branch. You're on a big branch and you see a smaller branch. And one of those smaller branches is the timeline you saw that was different from what you're currently living in. That's known as alternate timeline, or in terms possibility timeline. Where
The
we can-
timeline we came from, in the timeline we came from, the
Yeah.
war that was going on, we were losing it. The weapons they had were unimaginable, and they were created by humans who weaponized the blue Apple technology. And we were basically losing. But what happened was there was a complete end to the universe. It ended. It ends in 800 years. Everything ends. There's nothing left, not even bacteria. And we altered that. Now the most incredible universe is ahead of us because of all the light bodies that'll happen here on Earth. There'll be
Yeah.
like the ability Christ had with the abilities still intact, and be like 6 billion of us that will have all those abilities.
That's amazing to think about.
Yeah.
Because when humans go to a planet and people are killing each other or sacrificing babies to the reptilians, you're not going to send that, as a human, you're not going to send that baby love and hope for the best from a distance. You're going to get in there and stop that shit real quick.
Yeah.
And whether they like it or not.
All right, so team, is there anything else besides Brandon's devices that we should have with us during the session to reset the timeline? Have your crystals, ask which of your crystals would boost the process and have them present. So
Right in the moment.
that's fine. Yeah, I went to go get my
Just whether or
patch.
not what crystals could help boost
Yeah, they're telling us
the whole
to
timeline
ask.
shift.
Yeah, they're telling us to ask ourselves in spirit what crystals would be, or anything that we have that would be appropriate to have present when we do the timeline shift, because it would magnify. So certain crystals will
Yeah.
draw your attention. So just have them near in the same room when you gather.
They
to do
have
the-
to be cleansed.
Very good
So-
point. Yes, indeed. This is right. I would actually cleanse them with intention and sunlight.
And I'm being told for me to fast for the next 72 hours to give it as much power as possible.
I can do that too if I use my fasting mimicking stuff. Let me ask. It would be in highest good for me to fast as well, even if I use the fasting mimicking food.
It probably would be because, well, Joseph is doing
He'll do a water fast.
um, the actual shift and Brandon's assisting him. And then I'm just like,
We're going to be radiating.
we'll just be radiating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll be running the frequency. Well, we'll all be running the frequencies, but our main job, you and
And
I,
I
we're
bring
going
my
to be
true self out
really,
for this.
yeah.
Your what?
True self.
True self?
Yeah.
I feel like you need to bring the Jesus out.
Well, like I said, it's my entire being. Should I bring it out? Like the
Yes.
form you saw me in when I showed you that form.
You
Should that form be shown?
I hear
during
you.
the session.
Because that's
I'm-
where I'm gonna be the most powerful.
Right. I was just told it would be
timeline
best
shift.
if you did not and actually called upon your own powers so you could become
Step
aware of
into
what
it.
you're capable of.
They have no doubt that
No,
you can do this.
No, it is in fact myself. It's my entire being.
Right. But I'm saying that
In a
the
true
human
form.
form to draw from what you gained now. Christ would be, yeah, they'd be fantastic to bring the full energy through. But what would be better would be for the butterfly to come out of the cocoon.
Oh,
They're saying, let Jesus
permanently.
help you. I don't know. I'm getting something along the lines of it's fine to call it to summon your Jesus
Aspect.
aspect and allow him to be around to help you get started, but then to become fully cognizant that you are actually the one conducting the event. And this part of you is there to provide support. And that is the view to have.
Oh, should I explain how this true form is?
Yeah.
So this true form is all of my aspects, all the ones that are currently within myself, within my city, will come forth. Well, they'll come forth temporarily, but they'll turn and join into us in terms of my true form.
Yeah,
My
in
true
a sense,
self.
you would be connected to higher source, which
Okay.
you are. Like me, what they're saying is I won't have to even try. If I fasted for 3 days, I'll be automatically connected. My oversoul is actually feminine, female, and in female energy. And so and that's what I did the last time when I fasted. I was directly connected. And one thing I learned about fasting a long time ago from my mom, and I've researched it a bit. Sometimes people would fast to try and get something over the hurdle, basically to give it that extra inertia to push it over. Like when I tried for the property loan that I was getting here, one, they don't give it to houses with properties with more than one house dwelling on it or whatever. We have 3 buildings here. Another one is actually set up for a dwelling, and so
We only
I
have
had to
2.
overcome.
We have a carport.
We have that other building over there. That one that's falling down.
I know
That's
that one.
considered in Rubens.
Oh, that's true. I forgot about that for some reason.
And so anyway, all that was against me. So both Daniel and I fasted to move that energy past, and it went through, which was actually a miracle in itself, because there's no way any other company they would just they said, yeah, no, we can't do anything, and they hang up right away.
They said I may be tapped to use my voice, for you are correct. Your voice has become very strong in affecting the fields, my dear. So we will consider if this is to be utilized at a certain point. So yes, use this information wisely. So, all right, so is there anything else we need to do to prepare?
See, the reason I wanted to do it and pretty much be the sole the one doing it was because when I first set out to write my book and do the things I did, I sort of distanced myself from everyone because I knew those actions may have consequences, and I didn't want anybody else being held liable for that. It's kind of like the movie we just saw where they had to sink their own ship. They were being too demolished, and they sunk it in a place that would be really difficult for the enemy. They wouldn't be able to get their ships out or anything. They put the cannon, they aimed it down to the deck, and then this guy's going to pull it, and the captain goes, "No, I need to do that." And the reason he do that is because when they have the investigation, they want to know who destroyed the Majesty's ship, because you didn't have permission from the king to do that. And so the
So,
responsibility falls on the captain because he's the one that pulled it, and he has to answer for it and why he did
well,
it.
that shows character. So,
What I am being told, we've all chose to be in this boat with you, Joseph.
Mhm.
And we're riding through the storm with you. So you're not the only one there. We all make a choice. We've all
Thank
made
you.
a choice to do this, and Hector needs to know that he needs to move forward in the divine plan when he comes back to this, that there's a bigger plan for him instead of trying to just keep
Mundane.
himself
safe.
busy.
Yeah, busy and safe. That's right. Exactly. So can you request that and intend that?
Well, he's automatically going to have it if he has a review.
I know,
that's
but
gonna
it will still be,
Yes, that's why I retain the memory, because I'll know what happened and I'll know what I have to do
Mhm.
to guide him in that direction.
I also am willing to
Plant
retain
the
the memory.
seeds.
All right. So anything else? No, they're saying, no, we've got everything else within us. Just have any tools
You
that we
switched,
are
didn't you?
nudged to have close by.
See what's behind me?
Yeah. Do you see anything around Brandon there?
A lot of archangels have surrounded us, and some of them have put their hands on us, and they're saying, because they've done this before, where they told me that I'm not alone and that they have always assisted me and will continue to assist, and they actually want to put their intentions behind ours.
Oh, they're going to amplify so we can make this work. Yes, thank you. Creator is all on board. So we have really good shot at this.
This is for you too, Joseph, to understand that we do support you, and you do have a bigger purpose than what you have been stating in your mind, because all those words in your mind wasn't all you. That was
No,
the
I don't doubt it.
darkness and the darkness of the Patties and all the other ones that did not want you to succeed in what you was doing.
So please allow, because he's been so hampered and tortured by low worth and, putting himself last.
Yeah, so this would be good, a good chance, and yeah, only us will know. But
That's
we
perfect.
we support you. We
Thank
support you.
Thank you. He really needs to hear that because he does often feel alone and like nobody helps him. And now it's a pattern in his mind to think that he's trying to overcome, because it's not true. He gets a lot of support, and we just can't read his mind if he wants help with some household thing or project outside. We need him to tell us. And sometimes he thinks we should read his mind, but he's working on that. But overall, even the angels understand. He needed to hear that. Thank you. Applied
Thank
to
you.
the big stuff too.
And Betty, they say really focus on and ask what the basket and the child self trying to
Didn't ask.
gather everybody else's stuff and not focus on the self.
So why did the child gather outside herself? I'm getting, because she
Yeah.
didn't think she was enough. She didn't think she was okay on her own. That's just part of it. Okay.
Feel small. Feel as though what you're doing, or who you are, is never enough.
That it does feel, I don't dwell on that, but I'm sure that I wouldn't doubt at all that that's in the subconscious, because I just keep starting over and keep trying. But so many times that you get to a point where when you see where you're at and you feel like you've been spinning because you're not having the markers that show the progress. And yet, as far as in the outside world, and yet I do trust that it's there. So obviously my subconscious
You
is
need to
struggling.
work on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because your subconscious came and had a dream with me. So
Yeah, so it was pretty strong. Yeah. My higher self's going, help her see. Okay.
yeah.
Well,
And I
that's it.
don't
It's
know
another
what
thing. I've got to spend time inside myself, and I'm willing.
I don't know what the other two ladies was about or where it was at. So in your discovery of the self. And if you need, you can ask to be able to see what really happened in the dream. So if you ask, they'll take you there.
Or at least tell me. Okay.
It is
All right.
weird saying it's freeing twice.
What'd you say?
Yeah.
Because I'm looking through my eyes and my true self's eyes.
He's
Interesting.
looking. Yeah, my head's I don't know if I can handle, you gotta merge them.
Yes.
You need to merge them because
I
Yes,
to make
indeed.
myself small.
that shit hurts, Brandon.
Yeah, that's too much. Because it's separation. Yeah, go ahead and merge. Would be healthier on the body, easier on the body.
Yeah, because it makes my head hurt. You're sitting there doing that, and my head's
It's-
like,
it
woo,
is
woo,
nice to
woo.
find to be.
Oh, that's so much better.
Okay. So when should we, it is in good in order to go ahead and schedule getting together for that now. I ask if we should go ahead and schedule
could be-
when we're gonna do
it
it
could be
now,
Monday.
and I'm getting no, we can schedule later.
It could be, it can go into Monday or something. It doesn't have to be like specifically on Sunday. As long as those 72 hours.
Well, I was just asking about when we should schedule it, and so they're saying,
Well, usually that's her day off. She's trying to do with the family now.
oh, you're not getting, I'm not saying we should schedule it for then. I'm just saying that, we don't have to schedule it right now.
Okay.
And is that what you guys are getting? We should schedule it in the when the 3 days comes, or
Should we schedule it within the 3 days?
or go ahead and put it on
No,
the books
I'm
now?
hearing, well, so nobody takes Monday. You should put it on the schedule.
I'd be happy
Mhm.
to. I don't know
Because-
what happened to my planner, but I think maybe somebody, oh, here it is.
And you'll have to go into my link. Because they'll fill that sucker up before I know it.
Well, I've got to find my planner, but Okay, so, oh, there it is. So Monday, all right. Okay.
Okay, good. I'm gonna go to the bathroom.
All
Okay.
right, so that's Monday, the 20, no, yeah, that is the 26th. Okay. Uh, all right, I'll get on your calendar. It looks like it's probably going to be afternoon.
Okay, wait.
I have a doctor's appointment on Monday afternoon, actually, and
My fasting was going to be 3 days prior to what's going to take place, so I don't have to start fasting yet. And
No, not yet. Yeah.
yeah,
We don't
tomorrow.
want you.
Yeah, tomorrow. Okay. Okay, so all right, I'll get in there, but it looks like I'm booked from 10 to 12 and then from 2 to 4 probably, but otherwise, yeah, I'll find us a spot.
and I got jury duty in the morning.
Oh, on that Monday?
Yeah.
Okay, so that if we do it then, and if he gets tapped for jury duty, we'll have to do
We can push it as
it
soon
at
as
5
we
or a
have
little
to.
later. How late are you on the calendar? Okay.
5 o'clock, but you could,
Is your last one or?
you could take the 5 o'clock and then
Mhm.
we can move it however late you
Like a
want.
few minutes later, just to give him, because I think it's over at 5 if he has to serve. And so 5:36 would probably work. Okay, all right, I'll just
Yeah.
save that. That's what I'll do.
Yeah,
I'll save
just-
that one.
Yeah, just, go in and do it, and then we can always, make it later, so that's
Mhm.
not a problem.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
thanks for all
because-
your time, all,
yeah,
everyone.
because
This is huge.
everybody's been filling up the schedule pretty good because, the other day when I was opening up for Saturday, right? My guides wouldn't let that happen, and Chris said, well, because you stated you wanted family time and to do the projects that you need to do, so you need to honor yourself.
It's true. It's
Yeah.
true. Yeah, it's a challenge. So they help us when we're really trying.
Yeah,
So,
so
yeah. Well, that's one reason I didn't call you last week, because I'm like, yeah, you need to have some time for your family, and it is hard to stick to.
well,
That's
it is because
challenging.
we want to help. We
Each
want to
other.
help.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it doesn't mean I don't get calls on the weekend, but I don't get as many calls.
good,
on
because
the
you took a
weekend.
stand for yourself. I think that really
I
does
took a
make
s-
a difference. In the
Yeah,
universe.
and then the other part is it changes those negative energies going, well, you're a queen of the angels, you're supposed to be on duty 24/7. And I'm like, wait a minute, kings and queens had time down.
That's
They
right.
had downtime.
That's
They could
right.
do other stuff. They didn't have to deal with stuff
Official duties
24/7.
constantly. That's right.
Yeah, so I'm like, yes, I am queen. I do make those decisions, but I do have the right to make a decision, and so since
Yeah, and and a responsibility to be sure you're well fed, so you're at full strength, well stocked inside yourself, and well fed in every way, including playtime and
Yeah.
family time. And a lot of times that can go together, thankfully. Yeah, I'm working on that too, even though I've got more time than I've ever had in my life. I still find myself very busy and having to schedule what I need, what's important. So, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
all
So
right.
thank you. All right. Love you, honey.
I love you too. I'll stop this and
And I'll get that